Hi and welcome to another market update video, and today we're just going to talk about looking at volume ranges and how to identify good potential entries into altcoins that you may want to pick up, because I think we're coming to a time where this correction could be over soon, and I think alts will start running as Bitcoin moves up to its next leg up. So first of all, we'll just go into the time frame and looking at the volume ranges per quarter, and I think that gives you a great insight on what's to come in the next quarter, and how to kind of navigate our way around larger time frames. So what I've done here, I've used the fixed volume range tool, right? So it's this one, fixed range volume profile, and I've put them across I've measured them across each of the past few quarters, just to give me an idea of what's happening in the market and what's to happen maybe in the next quarter. So if we go back to 2023, I think it starts from April to August. Okay, so that will be Q2 of 2023. Then we got Q4, and then we got September, August to Q3 there, then Q4, and then Q1 right now. So the first thing when we look at the ranges, so when you plot a range for the quarter, okay, so you then take that range into the new quarter. So although I've so say I was looking at Q4 2023 or Q3 2023 here, right? So the range between August till I think it's end of September, August to September. I wouldn't be looking at this range here because this range is still forming, so I'm looking at the range prior and seeing what could happen. So the first piece of information that I see what's happened in the quarter before that I'm looking at is that price overall in this quarter closed below the point of control and also the value area high. So that leads me to believe that although price attempted to break the value area high and point of control, it failed to do so. So it looked like there was more sellers in the market, and what we can say is that this is not an area at that stage anyway where buyers were comfortable in pushing price up. So that was a premium rate, and because price ended the quarter below both of them, the point of control, which is the area where most trading activity is done, as you can see on the volume profile here, most trading activity is done around this level, and the value area high is the uppermost level of the range. That was rejected. So if we just had a hypothesis of what could happen in Q3 2023, is that price probably will go down to at least test the value area low of the previous quarter. And what happened is that we did get the move down, okay, and then we were only going to be bullish again in that quarter once price broke above the value area low of the previous range. If it never broke it, then we were going to continue going lower and lower, and that's the way to gauge things. And what happened in that previous quarter, what happened in the quarter, if we're analyzing this one now, is that it took a long time, right to the end of the quarter, before price can then push up. So now we have this quarter, okay, so we forget about this one. Let's look at the hypothesis now for this quarter here. I know it's easy to say because it's in hindsight now, is that this quarter probably could turn out bullish because we're above the point of control, the value area low, and even the value area high, meaning that buyers are now comfortable with this range here. For that quarter, it was a discount area, and they've pushed price up. So what we're looking for in the next quarter to continue going up, we must hold at least the value area high of the previous range, which was 27,300. And we shouldn't really go below the previous point of control, otherwise price will start going down. And what we had in the first few weeks, we had price testing that value area high range twice in the first 2 weeks of Q4 of 2023, and then price gained acceptance here, and then it pushed all the way up and made a new range. So now we're looking at, so now we're here again. We've got this. We're now in. It's the end of. It's the beginning of Q. So we're looking at this quarter here, which is Q4 2023. So now the quarter started, and we pushed up, and it was a bullish quarter, as you can see. So now we go into the current quarter that we're in. Again, we're looking at the previous quarter, and we can see that price, when it opened, we've got the main area, which is 43,000. So if price pushes above 43,000, for me, that's going to be bullish, because that will mean a new range is going to be formed, because this, again, for the last quarter was an expensive premium range, and that was a discounted range. But so in this current quarter, if price gains acceptance below this area here, okay, then we can start to say, okay, this is going to be bearish if it starts gaining acceptance here, and we can expect to move all the way down to 32,000. So we monitor it for the first few weeks, and we if you're looking at this quarter, rejected about 4 weeks of rejection. So what we can say is that unless price firmly goes above 43,000, we're not buyers in the market. We're just going to wait and see what's going to happen. Okay, and then in early Feb we broke it, and we made a new range to 73,000 where we are. And like I said in one of my previous videos, is that now we're above the value area high of this quarter, which is Q2, because the quarter is almost over, so you can plot the range, and you can kind of see where the levels are. So the point of control is all the way down at 43,000. Okay, that didn't change because that's where most of the trading was done. As you can see, these were just quick moves. There's not much volume here. So if we do lose 66,000 for a prolonged period of time, okay, maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks, we can't break above it in the quarter to come, in Q3. Price has a long way. There's not much here, so you can expect price to at least come down to 52,000. Okay, and at the worst case scenario, back to the 43,000, and that's the value area low, which is going to be 38. Was it 38,000? Yeah, 38,000. So if price cannot gain acceptance above this level in the quarter to come, then we've got a massive drop. I know it seems a bit, although I'm bullish, this seems a bit scary, and you're probably saying, what are you talking about here? But it's just because the volume. There's look at this big candle here, right? February. It was the end of February. There's not much volume at all transacted in this area. So as fast as it does go up, that's how fast it can come back down. Okay, so that's something to take note of. So, but what do I think for the next quarter anyway? So for me, at the moment, okay, the value area high of this quarter is 66,000 roughly, right? And we're above the point of control, which is the most transacted volume area, which is down at 43,000. There's a couple of days left, so we can see after a few days the full quarter, and if any of these value areas move, but I don't think that's likely. So for me, as long as price does stay above the 66, so we get into the new quarter, 66 is a threshold. As long as we're above 66 for a prolonged period of time, you can say a few weeks, and you can see that price is now gaining acceptance over 66. What we're going to probably face in the new quarter is a new range to the upside. Okay, now if we move into the new quarter and we lose the 66 and 66,000 level, and it hits it, then price is going to come down, and then we can go into the local level and see where it's likely to reverse from. But so far, what we can say in a general kind of way, in sort of a roadmap sort of way, is that price is above the value area high of this quarter, above the point of control, and it looks like that the next quarter will be bullish, because it seems that price wants to form a new value range. Okay, because we're at the high of this quarter now, so there's not going to be much going on now. There's only a couple of days left. In the new quarter, you probably when we start, this will be a level. 66,000 will be a major level for the longer time, larger scale time frame. And then we have obviously the 43,000 at which is one of the bearish scenarios. You can. So if we start to lose that level, then you can say, okay, we're going to start dropping. So that's something just to have in the back of your mind. But for me, that's 66,000 as on a quarterly basis is a big level. So you don't, and in this you don't need to go into the if we lose 66,000 on an hourly time frame or a 4-hour time frame. There's nothing to, it's not panic stations. This is more over, if you can see over weeks, over weeks to see how it's forming, and then you can go into the smaller time frames to look at local levels. But this is a kind of gives me context that Q2 was it Q2? Q2 should be bullish now. We'd never know what's going to happen in the future, but this gives you kind of context and a market idea of what would happen or what could happen, seeing as prices above the value area high, and it seems that buyers actually want to push this up further. So that gives me a kind of context of what's happening in terms of the quarters. Now, if I take that off, right, and let's go into like the local levels and see, where Bitcoin is right now, and it's been in this correction, this wave 4 correction that that I think it's been in for some time now, and we can say, we've had let's just zoom out a bit so we can just see this. So we've had the 73,000 top here, probably a wave 3 top. We could say it's the the 3 of 3. Some people are saying it's the total, the final wave 3 top, and we just got one wave 5 left. We'll have to see as things progress, but for me at the moment, I'm going with wave 3 of 3, and this is the 4 of 3, and then we're going to have the 5 of 3, and then a bigger correction to come. So when I put my fixed ranges on for this kind of for this sort of area, so let's just go back out so we can just have. So I've got a couple of fixed range profiles here, right? So the main ones I use, so this pivot, so this was a 38,000 bottom all the way to the 73,000 top, so that's the range there. And you can see on the volume profile, nothing much here. Okay, so if price does break below 59,000 on this range, there's actually a very big drop to you can easily see that being retraced all the way down to 52,000, and a lot of people have 52,000 as a target level. I can see why, is because if you look at the volume profile, there's nothing to hold price up in these levels. It will just be here. Okay, so but obviously that's to come later. We can't predict that. It's easy to predict price. Price is going to come to 52,000. We have to lose levels before that's possible. And if we go into the current market and see what's happening, so on this bigger range here, we've got the value area high at 73,000, which was obviously the high, the point of control, which comes in at 67,000, and then we also have the value area low at 59,000. So these are the three levels we're working within on this larger time frame. And for me at the moment, I remain bullish because we're above the point of control, which is this area. Look, a lot of volume being transacted in this area, so buyers want to keep price above 67,000. Anything that comes in this range, we see the reaction, and what you should hope is that if it does, if we do have a pullback, a substantial pullback, we could break this range and come back into it. These ranges are not like how can I say that they're not going to be just touching them and then if it breaks down for an hour it's broken. No, they sometimes fake them out and they go back into them and they go back up to the top. So this is what we have to look at. So these are the levels I'm looking at on a bigger time scale. So I do expect after coming into the top, we've come to the bottom of the range. Now we're making our way back to the top. So I am expecting 73,000 to break personally, just looking at it. And if I go into an even more local profile, which is from this range to this range, we can see we've broken the value area low twice, but we're back into it, and now we've traded back up into the value area high. So we're just in this range at the moment, and for me, above the point of control, again, that's bullish on both of the ranges. If the larger range and the smaller range. And what you notice on both of these ranges, the point of control is actually in the same place, which means that 67,000 is actually a very strong level. If we do come down to 67, that should, if the bulls are in charge, that will be defended. And this is when I talk about entries, you're not just entering off anywhere. You have to look at levels and decide which are the strong levels for you to trade off. And for me, I wouldn't do anything until 67,000 if it's hit again, or you've got obviously the break of all-time high, which is, you look at the reaction there, So an example would be, let's just take this one off. So if you break the all-time high and then you stay above this value area, which is 73,000, or for this range, that would mean that price now wants to go higher. But if you break that area and you come back down into the value area high range, that means price is not accepted there. That's it's too much of a premium, and it probably will come all the way back down, at least to the point of control, which is 67,000. So these are kind of zones to watch out for. And another thing that I put on, is the VWAPs, the anchored VWAPs, and I think they're very, very useful in this case. So the one I've put on is from the swing point. So I put on from the low of 38,000, and you can see it's we didn't quite make it here. It would have been great if we touched 59,000 and then bounced, but we bounced a bit before, and then it's coming up at 61,000. So because that was a good reaction, I've put another VWAP on here onto on the latest swing that we've had from 60,000, and what you notice is that's coming in nicely, really nicely at 67,000 with the point of control. So that's two confluences there. So if price does come back down here to 67,000, I would expect a strong reaction, if it does. But these VWAPs are really good indicators, especially the anchored VWAPs on major swing points, to where you could possibly enter, with confluence with other volume tools. If we put a fib on, fib retracement tool, from both, let's see, from the major swings. So this is the golden zone. As you can see here, that's way down, so there's no confluence there. If we go to the latest swing, you can see, and this is something that's really, really nice to see, is that from this range to the top, once you come into, you bounced, point of control, losing the VWAP and the golden zone, coming back into it, and then really, really bouncing off it nicely here. And that was a great area at 64,000. So using all these tools to give yourself an understanding of the market. So the wider context for me for Q2 going forward, remain above 66,000. So that would be a level that I would put on, and it kind of goes close to the point of control for this kind of area. So it gives you a bit of a picture of what's to come. 67,000, a very strong level. Regain that, we're going to be going much higher or stay above that, we're going to be going a lot higher in Q2. So for me at the moment, if I look at Bitcoin, I would say that there's nothing to be totally bearish about at the moment. We're above the point of control, just below the value area high. I do expect us to challenge that and make a new all-time high, and then from there we can see how price is reacting. But for me at the moment, there's nothing really too bearish on the charts. And where can we say a potential target for Bitcoin anyway in the short term is, I think, at least about $75,000. So if we continue to stay above the point of control here, 67, I think 75 is something that's a good target. And then notice how it's just above the value area high. So if we get a move up there, then we can see the reaction from there. Maybe we'll come all the way back down to 66, and then in Q2, maybe in the first 3-4 weeks of Q2, then make the real move up to $80,000-$90,000. But at the moment, it's I can't say anything is bearish. I know there's targets here at 52,000, and I understand there's volume. There's a volume profile, but unless you really start to lose $59,000, that's a warning point. $59,000 on the local time frame. You start losing it. I'm not talking about just an hour, but you actually break below it. You come back and test this. You can't break can't break above again, and then you start coming down. Then the target would be around that 50, this area basically, 52, 50. Yeah, but that would be breaking a lot of the VWAPs and a lot of the local trend. So personally, I don't see that coming at the moment. But obviously, if we lose levels, then you have to react and you have to adapt. And that's the way I like to trade. That's the way I like to invest. Looking at levels, looking at what's strong and what's not, and then adapting based on that. It's not about predicting the future. It's not about making wild guesses, even though we all like to do that as a bit of fun. But what we really need to do to be successful is looking at strong levels, looking at strong volume levels, in my opinion, and adding on for me the anchored VWAPs and the fibs to give me an extra a bit of confluence to enter into position. So yeah, at the moment I would say I'm bullish, and we just have to continue monitoring Bitcoin, and probably I would say breaking all-time highs, and then taking it from there, and then assessing what the next step is. So let's look at altcoins, for example. So now, and I want to just have a bit of analysis on how to spot or how to identify areas in altcoins, because that's a lot of questions I get. When can we get? Should we go into altcoins now, or should we go into altcoins later on, and that sort of stuff. And to be honest, you have to really analyze the altcoins. Which one you want to actually enter in individually. As a market cap, yeah, I'm bullish on total 3. But if I was looking at altcoins, I would have to analyze it and then look at what the best kind of entry is. So if we just take one, and this is my kind of thought process. So you can do this on any altcoin that has some kind of history anyway. Obviously, altcoins that just come out, they're very difficult to analyze because there's not much volume, and my style of investing, swing trading, and all that sort of stuff is volume. So if I get a chart like this, so this is near protocol, right? So for the first thing I would do, I would get a fixed range volume, the tool, and I would do the whole range just to see where we are. So this whole range, when I look at it now, and you can see quite clearly, this is the discount area, which is 70 cents, and all the way at the top, which is around $5.50, is the premium rate, for all of the range. So now, and it's quite interesting that we've just broken out of the premium range. So straight away that says to me, okay, as long as $5.50 is held, this is going to now create a new range to the top, okay, because now this area, okay, has now been flipped. It looks like the area above now is accepted as a new range. So all of this area is done now. We've had it. We've broken the point of control at $2, came back, almost retested it, and then we've flipped the value area high. So now buyers seem comfortable buying in this range. Okay, so that's what it says to me at the moment. Obviously, if we flip it back and come all the way back down, then that would be ultimate. That would be very bearish. But just as a overview, I know that NEAR probably wants to go a lot higher. That's my thinking now. So I would always look at a full range. So now I want to look at the next range. Where can we enter possibly? So what I would do, I'd go into let's just say, so we know that's the basically make or break for this. For the $5.50 is a make or break. If we lose that, yeah, we're going a lot lower. We're going at least to $2.28. So you need to have both sides of the picture, the story. For example, just like I said, if Bitcoin trades below $66,000 for the next quarter, that's going to be ultimately bearish. If it keeps doing that, and it's going to go all the way down to 43,000 or 52,000, and that would coincide with what would happen with NEAR also. So these all relate to each other. It's not just one isolated case. So again, $5.50, that should be in the back of your mind. If price starts getting below $5.50 for a sustained period of time, you see it trying to, if it goes down and then it's trying to break it several attempts, you can't do it, yeah, we're going lower, okay, and that's what you need to understand. But if price now is above, and it stays above, and maybe we get a retest, it doesn't have to, but maybe we get a retest and it's bought back up, yeah, we're going to go a lot higher. So that would be my first thoughts anyway for NEAR. So then I think about, okay, now I know the whole range. I want to know a more local range. So I would say, okay, I'll take the next swing low, which is here, in the $2 area, and I'll put it here. So okay, so that gives me now a more of a localized range, and even here with that, I can say that it's come out of the value area high of even this local range here, which is around $6.60. Now if I want to enter, is that a good, is this, you know, is this a good place to enter? Maybe it bounces off, it touches here and it bounces off, or maybe it touches off this one and bounces. Obviously this is a stronger level because that's the whole range, and this is a more localized level. So what I can do now is I can put a couple of VWAPs on, you know, anchored VWAPs, and I would put them on probably at the swing points. So I'd get one anchored VWAP from here, okay, and I will see where does price come in, and yeah, it was a nice bounce there, but still it's quite low down. So I don't think, you know, if we can't break below $5.50, we're not really going to get to that target, so that's not really going to be a realistic entry. I want something that's in confluence with these areas. That would be something that's more, I would say, more confident to buy near at these prices. So I'll put one again on this price here, which is the next swing low, okay, of this range, and I can see price now. This is interesting. Now this is getting to $5, okay, and obviously it moves up over time. So something, if price was to come down into here, $5, and then bounce, I think that'd be very bullish. And if we put a fib retracement on as well, okay, fib retracement, that's from, so we get the fib from here, so the low, obviously it's just in that area. Now if we got a little bounce here and moved up, I think that would be you know, that's quite a, you know, a number of strong confluences here. You've got the anchored VWAP, the you know, the range value area high, and the golden zone. So anything that comes into here, that would be a target for me around here. You've got this one here also, the $6.50, but for me that's just a local range. You know, you could easily break below that, but this one is a lot more interesting. So I would personally, you know, it may never come down there. That's something you have to understand as well. But for me, that would be something I would be looking at in this area, in this region. And that there's, you know, you got a number of maybe 2 or 3 confluences in there to give you a bit of confidence. Obviously, we don't know, you know, price could just break down and not test any of them and just, you know, continue down. But if I was going to buy near, that's the kind of that's the kind of area I'd be looking at. You know, any wicks into here and a reclaim of the value area high would be something I would be looking at. So, you know, for near protocol anyway. So you know, this is how I identify levels, identify ranges, and where price could potentially go. So that would be an area of interest for me. If it doesn't come there, it doesn't come there. You know, I can't do anything about that because I'm looking now at price, and this is a level I would be comfortable seeing the reaction. You know, you have to, if we break down and then we reclaim it, that's very strong. You know, and if we can get above, if you break below, what is it, $5.50, go into this area of the VWAP around, you know, $5, and then come back up. You know, that's gives you a lot of confidence that this is going to be a strong area to buy. So yeah, that's my take on near protocol, and that's one of the ways I analyze something. I look at the volume ranges, I don't just plot, you know, support and resistances anywhere, like, oh, here's a good support, here's a good resistance. I don't really do that. I really like to plot the supports and resistances based upon the key volume ranges, and that gives me a clear idea in terms of that. So the main things I look at are the volume ranges with the VWAPs, with Fibonacci, and then, you know, with the fibs, and then you can get yourself you know, decent. Anyway, you can get yourself decent target levels. You don't have to rush in and FOMO. You know, you might want to buy here. Price could reverse, you know, but for me, I'm more comfortable buying at these levels because there's more confluence. So let's look at another one. Let's look at Kaspa, right? And that's you know, it's been in a solid uptrend since it came out. So again, the first thing I'll do for Kaspa again is I'll put a range on the entire chart, right? We'll put a range on the entire chart. Let's just see where we are, and again we can see that we've broken out of the you know, value area high. That we broke out of it. You know, we retested it back in August 2023, little rejection. That was the perfect opportunity there. October 2023 at what was that, 4 cents, and then it made a nice run up. So obviously very unlikely, unless we break down, probably be if it comes down back to 4 cents, it's going to be an ultimate correction. You probably see a new bear market if that happens, because what is that? That's like a price range. So from where we are now, if we came back into, that's like a 70% correction, 68, and that, you would probably be in another bear market or so. So you have to be realistic as well. Okay, we've broken out of it, we've had the retest here. Very unlikely that we're going to go back down into that range again, unless something's very seriously wrong with the market. So we have to go locally, and we have to see, okay, what's the next best entry for Kaspa? Okay, so where do we want to go? Where do we want to, what's the ideal levels for us? So I'll put another fixed range in, and this is a more local level. Let's take off the major one. Let's take off the big one, because we know probably not getting into that one again. And as you see straight away, this is from the latest low back in 2023 August, which is around 3 cents, and obviously the whole range here. So currently above the point, the value area high and the point of control. So straight away my bias is kind of bullish, because we're trading above that, and we've tested this area once, got a bounce, coming back down to it. Let's see, is this area a good buy area for Kaspa? Is there any confluence apart from the value? Because you can't just go on the value area high. You could just easily break down again, retest it from the underneath, and then carry on going down. It's something that could easily happen. So we can't just rely on one confluence. Let's look at this range here. So we had this range to here. Let's see again, value area high coming in, point of control kind of in the same area. So it's kind of the same, so we don't really need that one, I would say, because it's kind of the same levels. Again, gives you a bit more confluence that your levels are actually in a good place, because you've got all the high trading activity here. Again, volume very thin here. If breaking below this area here of 9-10 cents, you got a bit of support there, but that's such a thin area. You break below 7 cents, you're literally coming down to 5 cents. But that's the worst case. That's worst case scenarios. So just by looking at volume, you can see, okay, where can we enter. So what I would do, again, I'm going to put some anchored VWAPs in. Firstly, in the major pivot. So we see price coming to about 9-10 cents. Maybe that's a potential area. Number one. Let's look at my second one, which was the second major pivot. And again, this is a nice one, coming down to it. Nice reaction. Haven't quite come down to the second time, but getting close. So area of interest is here for me. Okay, for just looking at it. Let's put a fib on as well. Let's see. Let's get to sort of areas. Let's see what. So that would, from high to low, that would bounce in here. Good confluence there, around 9 cents. Okay, but let's look at another one. The latest swing high and low, which is around here. Okay, we got same area, similar area. And if we look at the latest swing high and low, which is around here, that's quite interesting as well, because you've got right on the value area high. So you've got an area here. So if I was looking at this and I wanted to get into Kaspa, I would be looking at this area here. Maybe on the 12 cents, you got the 12 to 11 cents. Maybe this comes up a bit, but you've got this area. So for me, this area, as long as you break down and then you regain the value area high, that's going to be a very strong move back up. Obviously, anything above the value area high is going to be bullish going forward, because now, especially in the new quarter that I said is coming up, it's going to create a new value to the upside. What you don't want is it breaking down, hitting the VWAP, coming back up, rejecting there, then coming back down, then rejecting this VWAP, and then rejecting this VWAP, and then going all the way down. That's how you know you're in trouble, because firstly, you can just reject the the value area high, then you could break down, reject the VWAP here. That's a second sign that you're in trouble. Coming back down here, rejecting this VWAP. Okay, now you're done. Now you're coming all the way down, you know. So these are kind of clues as well to how the market will behave. So, you know, as you can see here, so let's just see what kind of confluence we had here. So we had, so we didn't quite get into that one. So that's from this range here. So, you know, if you were back here, so look, as you can see, hit the VWAP into the Fibonacci, VWAP above, you know, all the time. It was very strong area of price. You know, it's not perfect, but the VWAP and the Fibonacci's give you a guide, and then eventually you break up. Okay, and that's something. Obviously, this is the daily. You can go, you know, zoom in a bit, and you can see exact entries, and when you're comfortable, you know, it's never an exact science when you're going to enter. You have to have that as a strategy. But this area, this whole area, you know, has been strong and it's been respected. So what we can do now, like I said, we can look at this area here as a new potential entry. So for me, anything, you know, around 11 cents, you know, even if we hold 12 cents, this is kind of a decent area for CAS, I would say, and holding the value area high as support would give me further confidence. So these would be zones I'd be targeting for Kaspa. The last one that we'll look at is Tau. Okay, and again, Tau, it's been a very, very strong coin, AI and all that. So again, let's just put a nice fixed range in, well above here. Very unlikely we're gonna see that anytime soon, unless you see something crazy. But you can see, if you look at the story, so you've gone up, tested the point of control, up again, back to the point of control, regained it all the way to the value area high, coming back down to test it, and now, you know, forming a new range. So let's put a new range on, which is from here. Well, that's not the range, but let's just get the range in from here to there, and you know, we can see, which is interesting, breaking below the value area high, and you know, this is something you can see, this is something that's price hasn't accepted above here yet. So we need to look at the value area low the point of control is very, very, very low. You know, I don't think it's gonna get to $200, but if you want an entry now, so what's a decent entry from here? So let's put on a couple of VWAPs, anchored VWAPs, and we're already are we bouncing off this one? Hold on, let me just take this off. Need to zoom in to actually see what's happening there. Can't really see. Okay, that's very interesting there. So currently bouncing off the VWAP, and that VWAP came from the last major swing low at $200. So do we have any? So for me now, this is interesting for Tau. If we get above the 618 again, that would be strong. Bouncing off the VWAP, gaining this fib again, could be a really good entry. You can see this, you know, the volume profile. You got here as well, but there's no confluence here. There's nothing really here for me. This is an area that I would be interested in for Tau. Okay, you know, you're bouncing off the VWAP currently, and now what I would hope next what would happen was that we regain the golden zone and then we make our way up. But obviously, you know, that's just it's all about probability at the end of the day. You know, you could if you're trading this, you can enter here, stop loss below the wick, and see how it goes. You know, it's not financial advice. Remember, nothing's financial advice. It's just education. I want you just to show you my thought process and how to spot levels. And you know, this one with Tau, I don't really expect that. And yeah, this is a very strong level here now, and regaining the value area high at 610 would be a very bullish move. But it's interesting to see how this plays out now over the next few days. If we can gain the golden zone, the fib zone, that would be again very strong, and then moving up. Obviously, if we lose the value area high, if we lose this, that become it's not the value. If we lose the VWAP, the anchored VWAP here, it's going to start to be I would say a bit bearish personally. We could then see our way going down. So what we have to understand is we just play levels. We look at levels. This is how I find levels based on volume. You know, I'm not looking for the exact price. I'm not looking at the exact dollar lows. I'm just looking at good areas where we could potentially enter, and yeah, then we just make our plans from there. So that this is how I you know, analyze and obviously look at strong levels. And you know, there's no perfect way. There's always going to be flaws in ways, and there's other, you know, there's always ways you can refine it. And this is very quick the way I'm doing it, just for this video. It's just, you know, hopefully you can take some benefit. And obviously you can put other levels in. You can put, you know, weekly high levels, weekly lows, and so forth, to give you an added extra confluence. But for me, like I said, I always like to go with 2 or 3. So, you know, the fibs, the VWAPs, the value area highs or lows, and the point of controls. That's another level for me. And then obviously putting in, you know, weekly highs or weekly lows, monthly highs, monthly lows, and they all add a bit of a picture for me on where to enter. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again next time.